UFC London, Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. Should be an insane card, boys. Let's get straight into it. Without further ado, but before we begin, I just want to go over last week's card. This is how we've been doing. This is how the script has been doing in 2025. It's very, very solid year. We are profitable on each card. UFC 313, for those who are new to the channel. We give you our picks, predictions, and bets. And as you can see, UFC 313, we hit all our bets. UFC Vegas 104, solid card. And if you guys would like to unlock the safe bet, as you can see, we only missed twice. We were on a 5-fight win streak as of right now. We would have been on an 8-fight win streak if Kevin Giuseppe wasn't a fraud. But the safe bet has been going crazy. If you would like to unlock the safe bet for UFC London, subscribe to Winnable. And if you're, dude, this guy's a scammer. Guys, we give it to you guys for free. So check it out. There's literally no reason for me to scam you guys. Winnable is a solid software. A whole bunch of people in the space use it. Check it out. Link in the description to get our picks and unlock the safe bet. Last week's safe bet, Damon Blackshear and Kevin Vallejos, both of them won by finish. Very solid card. And that card was a tricky card. Speaking of tricky cards, this card has so many 50-50 fights, boys. I don't even think it's very 50-50, this card. But we're going to get into it. We're going to break it down. These were our favorites and underdogs for last week. Boys, let's get straight into the video. As usual, we're starting from the early prelims, ending with the main event. And to open up the card, we have Garam Kutatelidze versus Kuya Fernandez. And I'm going Kutatelidze. And this is a kind of a 50-50 fight, but I just feel like he has the more experience. He has more experience, and I mean, both these guys are kickboxers, as you guys can see. Both these guys are just kickboxers. I just feel like this will be a closer fight. Kutatelidze has more of the knockout power. He would be the one most likely to get a finish, in my opinion. But both these guys are tough. They both can get finishes. But I just like Kutatelidze in this fight. I think he's more accomplished as a striker and a kickboxer. So I'm going Kutatelidze. I do think he shouldn't be a minus 400 favorite. I think that's a little crazy. But I'm favoring Kutatelidze in this fight to open up the card. Moving on, we have Nathan Fletcher versus Colin Logran. And I'm going Fletcher, boys. I get it. Logran, a lot of people, I guess he's been saying he's like the next Conor. But let's get real. I like Logran, right? But I just he has solid takedown defense, but Nathan Fletcher is a solid grappler. And he will kind of go and lean towards his grappling to win fights. He trains with Patty the Batty and another woman who trains with Patty the Batty, but he trains with Patty. He's around those type of guys. Colin, not too sure about him. He kind of fights like a stubby fighter. I don't know. I'm going with Nathan Fletcher. I feel like if this were to go a decision, Nathan Fletcher could be able to get the control time that he needs. He has solid entries. I believe in his last fight, shot about 6 takedowns. He was able to complete 4. And yeah, he just has relentless pursuit to get the submissions. Logran is solid, like I said, but I think he'll struggle with Fletcher's pace and pressure on the ground. I think Fletcher might be able to secure a submission, maybe round 2. But Logran does have solid takedown defense, so it's more like if Logran's able to kind of negate the takedowns, definitely his fight. But I think Fletcher will be able to land the takedowns. Moving on up the card, we have Shauna Bannon versus Pooja Tomar. And she's one of the 2 fighters, I believe, coming from India. The other fighter was, forgetting the guy's name right now, but, he got knocked out bad in in that fight on UFC 312. That was bad. That was really bad. I'm forgetting his name right now, but they're trying to push Indian fighters because not trying to push them, but it's good. It's a good audience to tap into. Very good audience to tap into. Very lucrative, if you know what I'm saying. But in this fight, I am going Shauna Bennett. I feel like she's the better grappler and will use the ground game to her advantage. She's going to get the control time that she needs against Pooja. Pooja is more of a striker. And in this fight, she doesn't have the reach advantage, and it's a significant reach disadvantage. It's not like this is a 6-inch reach disadvantage for Tomar. But Tomar does have decent striking, but I don't think she'll be able to deal with Bennett's grappling pressure. Both these ladies were underdogs in their last fight, and I expect Bannon to grind out a decision. This will probably end in a decision, and I think she'll just have constant pressure, be in Tomar's face, throw off her rhythm. And yeah, boys, the pick will be Shauna Bannon. And they're both, the crowd might favor both of them. We have the Irish one. We have an Irish fighter and Indian fighter. And then we have Christian Leroy Duncan versus Andre Puliev. And I'm going Christian Leroy Duncan, man. He's dynamic, fast, and he's an aggressive striker. He's also really well-rounded. He's coming off a loss to Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop. And we know RoboCop is he's a solid fighter. There's not like no bum he's coming off a loss to, So I am gonna pick Christian Leroy Duncan to get this one done. But Andre Puliev, he's not bad, right? But he's relatively untested in the UFC. He's making his UFC debut, and Leroy Duncan's a hard matchup to fight in your debut, in my opinion. And Puliev, he's kind of like skinny, He might struggle to handle what the intensity Duncan brings, and Duncan also brings speed. He's very quick. Puliev kind of, something just telling me Leroy Duncan might just chin him. I'm not gonna lie, he might just chin him. And also, Leroy Duncan's well-rounded. If he needs to go to the wrestling, if he needs to mix it up, he'll mix it up. I'm going to Christian Leroy Duncan, and I think he's the biggest favorite on this card. That's how close these matchups are. Moving on up, we have Marcin Tybura versus Mick Parkin. Boys, I'm going Marcin Tybura. I know a lot of people, I think Mick Parkin's actually the favorite now. I think Mick Parkin has the chance to beat Tybura, but this is a problem a lot of heavyweights face. They'll go to fight Tybura, and then they'll just try to knock him out, and Tybura is going to get the takedown, and he's going to lay on you, take his time, and ground and pound you, submit you in mount. Boys, I think Mick Parkin's going to be a little more smart about this. He's not going to try to get Tybura out of there early. He's going to take his time. Not only is he going to take his time, he can grind out a decision. And he does shoot takedowns when needed. I think this is what separates him from a lot of the other UFC fighters. He shoots a takedown when needed. He's not just going to stand and bang. And, some of these flat blob heavyweights like to stand and bang. And also, he's in shape. He's not like a fat heavyweight. So, it should be close. But the pick will be Tybura. Tyburo's a seasoned vet. Has the striking. Has solid grappling. And he has faced much tougher competition in the UFC than Marcin McParkin. Parkin is a little bit of an unknown. So, that's why I'm going with Tybura. He hasn't really been tested yet. He has shown good power. Has solid toughness. But like I said, I think Tybura's UFC experience may make the fight close, make it gritty, maybe even get a split decision. And Tybura is very heavy in top control, boys. And very heavy. I think he has the most top control in the heavyweight division right now. And yeah, we did see moments of Tybura stumbling versus the knees, but what he did to the knees in that last fight was insane. As soon as Denise stumbled him a little bit, he shot the takedown, and Denise ate 18 elbows to the face. So that's that. The pick will be Tybura. Moving on, we have Loner Cavaha versus Felipe Dos Santos. And I'm going Loner, but I'm not. I'm going Cavaha, but Cavaha? Fuck, whatever. I'm going Cavaha. He had more impressive performances, while Dos Santos only really lost to Manel Cap and Lima, who's undefeated. So Loner does look good, but Felipe Dos Santos only lost to competition, Manel Cap and Andre Lima. I think it's Andre Lima, but who's undefeated. And he also went to a split decision against Altamirano. So he's definitely tested. He might have the pace and pressure of getting in Loner's face. And yeah, Loner, I don't know, like he's good, he's very quick, but he's untested, so I understand the picks going against him. I think Felipe Dos Santos is a solid dog. Would I trust him to get it done? No, I'll probably just go Loner. But yeah, like I said, he's a solid dog and he can get this one done. Moving on up the card, boys, we have Jai Herbert versus Chris Padilla. Now, at first, I had Jai Herbert. And also, by the way, don't be surprised if they mention 30 times that Jai Herbert knocked down Ilia Topuria this weekend. Like, they're going to mention it 100 times that Jai Herbert was the one to drop Ilia Topuria, this is that, like, bro, and then they're not going to talk about what Ilia did to him in like, later that fight. But anyway, I had Jai Herbert at first. I thought Herbert had the knockout power, has fast hands, but Padilla is tough. Padilla is tough, and I think he can get this one done. If Herbert finds his rhythm, he can, grind this one out and get the win, but I don't know, man. Something's telling me Chris Padilla. He also flipped to the favorite recently. But yeah, I think Jai Herbert can get this one done, but I'm going to lean towards Chris Padilla. The pick will be Chris Padilla, but don't be surprised if Jai Herbert makes this close. He has fought tough battles in the UFC, and he's gained experience against top competition. Boys, we are on to the main card. Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charrier. Now, at first I did have Nathaniel Wood winning this, but I'm going Morgan Charrier. Some of the French fighters been losing recently, man. But I think Morgan's solid. His only loss in the UFC is to Chet Mariscal. And Chet Mariscal, I mean, he's just crazy pressure, wrestling, whole bunch of scrambles, gonna get it done. Sloppy, but at the same time, just give me, you know what I'm saying? Just snatching something up, scrambles everywhere. He's gonna make it a dogfight. And he has insane cardio. But Charrier is a tough opponent. He has solid striking and a lot of heart. He has good cardio. However, his grappling defense hasn't always been tested at the highest levels. And I think Wood would be one of the ones to be able to, you know what I'm saying, snatch up a little sub against Charrier. But Charrier does have decent takedown defense. So, while Charrier is the better pick because he has shown success in the UFC, Nathaniel Wood I think he's a solid dog because he's pretty skilled, mixes in the grappling, the striking, jiu-jitsu, and his ability to control the pace because he has that jiu-jitsu in his back pocket if he needs to. He could find his pace and do what he has to do. But yeah, I don't know. I think Charrier would struggle to escape from top to escape from top control and submissions in later rounds. But if Nathaniel Wood doesn't snatch up a sub in the later rounds, I'll just give it to Charrier. I think Charrier probably just piece him up and be able to get it done. pick will be Sherrier. Moving on, we have Jordan Vucinic versus Chris Duncan. Now, am I tripping that I'm going Chris Duncan? Like, I don't know. Chris Duncan by decision, bro. Like, Vucinic isn't even really tested in the UFC yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, Duncan's heavy hands, and aggressive striking could be the difference maker. Especially if Vucinic struggles to avoid his punches. I think Duncan can maintain a pressure, mix in some clinch work, and just throw some good strikes from the clinch, wear his opponent down. But Vucinic may rely on his technique, try to keep distance, land the cleaner shots. But if Duncan is just pushing that pace, man, we're not going to see a technical guy, So Duncan's forward pressure and ability to close the distance could be a little difficult for Vucinic to handle, especially since this is his second fight in the UFC, boys. How many times have we seen this, But I think Jordan Vucinic is a solid prospect. So, I think he's the better pick. Like, if I put money, I put on Vucinic, right? But I'm going Chris Duncan as the pick. And he's a pretty big dog. We have Molly McCann versus Alexia Thanera making her debut. Molly McCann opened up at a minus 300, minus 400. She's now an underdog. And I'm going Molly McCann. She's an exciting fighter, especially when she fights in her home country. Her aggressive striking, relentless pace. She has a solid home advantage. But Nunes, on the other hand, is a dangerous striker. But I think Molly McCann, man, I think her cardio and pace and pressure are just going to overwhelm Nunes over 3 rounds. We've seen it a lot in these women's fights. If you could just constantly just stay in their face. If you looked at the underdog of the week, Sam Hughes. People call Sam Hughes trash. Oh, she's trash. But she always has that pressure staying in your face. She's always constantly busy. That's what the judges like to see. And I feel like, especially if McCann can do this, she has shown good durability. And if tough to break, so even if Nunes lands a big shot, I think McCann will be able to recover and continue pushing forward. The pick will be Molly McCann. I think she's a solid underdog. Boys, we're kind of going underdog heavy on this card, but you gotta feel me out. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pause, pause. But you gotta understand where I'm coming from. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, this card is 50-50. I don't know how many underdogs we picked. Maybe like 3. Next, we're going Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland. And I'm going Kevin Holland. I think if Kevin Holland backs out that 45-70. No, but Gunnar Nelson, he's tough. He's a tough grappler. And Kevin Holland recently has been struggling with grapplers. Khamzat Chimaev, Rainer de Ridder. It's just, I don't know if I can trust Kevin Holland at this point, because it's more like he shows up and if he wants to win, he'll feel like winning. If he wants to lose, he feels like losing. I wouldn't bet on a guy like that, but I think he is the best underdog on this card. So I will bet him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't bet him if it wasn't Kevin Holland. Like, if this was anybody else, doesn't really want to fight for real, doesn't want to, I wouldn't even bet them. But Kevin Holland is the best underdog on this card, in my opinion. Just my opinion. But yeah, Nelson is really also inactive. Kevin Holland's always active. If Holland actually tries, like I said, he can win this. If he backs out the 45-70, then this is an easy win. But yeah, Holland has the reach, the power, and the ability to dictate the pace early on. He's well-rounded. Although his grappling is okay recently, I think he does still have good grappling. And he should make it difficult for Nelson to close the distance. I think Holland's key to victory is to keep the standing, especially if Nelson wants to grapple you. If Holland can keep this standing, I think he can knock out Nelson early on. It's kind of funny because everybody says that, but it never ends up happening. But I'm going Kevin Holland. Next fight on the card, we have Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. Now hear me out. A lot of people are gonna say Jan Blachowicz, and I get it. I get the argument for Jan Blachowicz, right? But boys, you're not understanding something. Maybe you just didn't know about it. Maybe you do understand, you just don't know about it. Jan Blachowicz is coming off like 4 surgeries, like 3 to 4 surgeries. He's 42, man. Don't get me wrong. Age doesn't really matter with certain fighters, especially in the higher weight classes. And Jan's obviously one of them. But like, man, what are we talking about? What are we even talking about? I'm just saying, like, I get it. He has the UFC experience. Broke Israel Adesanya's 25 win streak. He ended 2 careers. Luke Rockhold's career, he ended it. He gave Alex Pereira one of the toughest matchups. Didn't let Ankalaev get the belts. But I'm going Carlos Ulberg. I mean, is that crazy to say? Ulberg is on the come up. Jan is coming off a 2-year layoff. Like, boys, 2-year layoff since the Alex Pereira fight? I just don't know, man. I think he could give Ulberg a hard time with the leg kicks, especially the leg kicks, especially Jan Blachowicz. He could just go shin to shin with you, but you know how I'm just going Ulberg. Jan is still durable. He won't mix in the grappling. I'd lean towards him since he has way more UFC experience against elite competition. But like I was saying, Ulberg's speed, movement, striking could give Jan trouble early on. And I think that's Carlos Ulberg's victory. He has to finish Jan. It's not an easy task, but he has to finish Jan early on because the later you grind this out, Jan Blachowicz is probably gonna win. And yeah, because if he lands the strikes early on, it'll help slow down Jan in the later rounds. But I'd probably side with Ulberg just because of the momentum right now, the striking advantage. But Jan's power and grappling could make it really close, boys. The pick will be Carlos Ulberg. Should be a really interesting fight. Kind of surprised Jan Blachowicz is this big of a dog, especially considering like all the factors. Like, you know, casual look at this, Carlos Ulberg easy, you know. But bro, Jan Blachowicz is nasty. So I'm very aware Jan Blachowicz can actually win this. Like, and fraud check, not really fraud check, but expose Carlos Ulberg and show all the holes in his game. But I'm going Carlos Ulberg. Then we have Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. At first, I wanted to go Leon Edwards, right? I was like, this is a Leon Edwards masterclass. Leon Edwards by decision, boys, right? And then I was looking at it. You think about the Bilal fight. Bilal just took him down repeatedly. Not only did Bilal take him down, right? Bilal dominated Leon Edwards in the wrestling up until literally the last round. And Leon Edwards just fucking started elbowing Bilal. But it was already too late. Bilal won the first 4 rounds, right? And what makes it hard to pick Leon Edwards is, like, he just gives up. He just gives up sometimes. You watch him fight, you're like, man, you're better than this, right? And Leon Edwards doesn't really get finishes. Sometimes he just kind of stares at the guy. You're like, bro, throw a punch. He's looking at the guy. Sometimes he's a little too patient. But Sean Brady's also not that convincing, bro. Like, he had a close fight with Michael Chiesa. He has been looking good in his most recent performances. He also got fraud checked by Bilal. He got KO'd by Bilal. But yeah, like I was saying though, Sean Brady. I mean, listen, man. He can't get this one done. Can't get this one done. And the pick will be Sean Brady. I'm picking Sean Brady. But I'll break down Leon Edwards real quick. Like, Leon, he's going to make it close because he's used to the wrestlers. Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, like 3 times. Bilal. But Leon did get exposed. He has good takedown defense. But Bilal made him look silly, boys. Bilal also made Sean Brady look silly. But I think the nonstop pressure may be a problem. He looked impressive against Burns. Sean Brady looked impressive against Burns. Got 10 minutes of control time and shot 17 takedowns. His cardio looked improved in the Burns fight. But, statistically though, like I said, Sean Brady should win. He lands more strikes per minute, more accurate, and averages more takedowns. His defense, his striking, and especially with high-level defense, is well-rounded. He's proven to be elite, but Leon Edwards is also extremely elite, especially after his fight versus Kamaru Usman. Leon Edwards has an advantage in the stand-up game, but I think Sean Brady knows this. He's going to shoot the takedowns, and I think Leon just has to avoid that and manage his range and stop, when someone shoots a takedown, you just can't stand on the cage now. They're going to count that as control time. So I think if Leon Edwards tries to get off that cage as fast as possible, yeah, I think it's going to benefit him. Because Sean Brady could probably just win this by holding him up against the cage. I done seen so many fights recently. They're just hugging each other at this point. Holding each other against the cage. And guys oh, yep. The ref's oh, yep, you won. I guess, right? But anyway, Sean Brady's tough, though, and his grappling can be a real problem. If he's able to close the distance, bring Leon to the ground, I think it's over. Even though Leon does, have solid takedown defense, I feel like sometimes he's too patient and doesn't do enough. Boys, that is the breakdown. This is a 50-50 card. Be careful betting on this card. If you want our picks, bet-wise, if you want our bets, link in the description. We're cooking. Follow us on TikTok and IG at The Script MMA, just like this YouTube channel. TikTok, I give you guys the updates on the little Ilia Topuria situation. Bryce Mitchell seeing demons before versing Gene Silva, all that little stuff that I'd rather not really put into videos because this isn't a drama channel. If you want a UFC drama-like channel, this is not the channel. We just like to cover fights, talk about the fights, talk about what's going on in the sport on TikTok. Boys, check out the link in the descriptions, TikTok, Instagram. Appreciate you for tuning in.